Welcome back to Wheels and Wisdom. I'm Larry, and today I'm going to talk about my friend one more time. Remember, we were talking about Krueger in the other video. Well, I did talk to him, and I asked for permission to somewhat give his real name. And you're going to ask, well, what does that mean, real name? Well, you're going to have to find out next in the video what that all entails. It's a pretty interesting story, and I think you're going to enjoy it. So sit back, get your coffee, get your donuts, whatever you want to have. Just get it, and let's get into the video. Here is another adventure with me and my very good friend. I called him Krueger in the last video, and I did get permission to, well, somewhat reveal his name. And you're probably wondering, what do you mean reveal his name? Krueger is was his, you could call it stage name. It was his wrestling persona. Krueger was at one time a part owner of NGW Wrestling here in northern Indiana. And he ran the promotion with his buddy. This story has to entail a BW or a BK, Brandon Krueger. One day we were down there. They were running a show out of Burnettsville, Indiana, at the Burnettsville Beehive, as they call it. And I would go there every month at halftime. Not halftime, but intermission. They would invite the kids to get in the ring. And being a long-time wrestling fan, that was one thing I wanted to do. From the time I went to WrestleMania 3 in 1987 until this moment, I always wanted to get into a wrestling ring. And I noticed that, like I said, they would allow the kids to get into the wrestling ring. And, at intermission, and, not really run the ropes, but, yeah, run the ropes, flop around, have a good time in a safe manner. And one of my other buddies, Tommy Gage, Tommy Gage is the one who actually introduced me to Brandon Krueger and Von Poffo, because I had no idea that they were running the show until Tommy Gage introduced me to them guys. That night, I think it was like close to Christmas, maybe around that time. And so I noticed that these kids were in there, and I'm thinking to myself, just ask. Just ask. What could they do? What could they possibly do? They could say no. Right? So I went up to Tommy Gage, and I said, "Hey, Tommy, can I get into the ring? Can you put me in the ring with my wheelchair?" And he said, "Well, I'm going to have to ask Brandon. I'm going to have to ask Krueger before I do that, because it's his ring." And I'm like, okay, I understand that. He went over to Brandon, and they were talking, and Krueger looked at me and goes, "Sure. Yeah, why not? Go ahead." So Tommy Gage comes back to me, and he's like, "Well, how are we going to get up there?" I'm like, "I don't know. I'm in a wheelchair. Can we figure it out?" So he went back, got some boys from the back, and like 3 or 4 of them. And Tommy put me on the ring apron, and I rolled into the ring. And the other guys, I don't know why I took 4 guys. I don't know. But they brought my wheelchair in the ring. They set it in the middle of the ring. And Tommy and a couple of the guys helped me. Big wrestling guys helped me into the chair and sat me in the chair. And I sat there, and I really that was a moment in my life that really was awesome. It made my life. Not my life. It made one of my dreams come true. And when I sat in that ring, I knew at the time I couldn't run the ropes. I couldn't do any elbow drops. I couldn't do a Randy Savage off the top rope. I knew that. But just merely sitting in that ring, the feeling of sitting in that ring, even though it was just an indie wrestling ring, an indie show, whatever. It was something. It's hard to describe, but it was a fabulous, fabulous. It was a great moment in my life, and I sat there, and I thanked God first of all for blessing me with this opportunity. And I owe a lot of thanks and gratitude to Tommy Gage for asking Brandon. But I've said that many times to Brandon before, and I'll say it, and I'll put it documented right here. I thank you, Brandon. I thank you for allowing me to have a dream fulfilled. He knows how much it meant to me. That was so cool. It was a great moment in my life. And again, it just demonstrates a good friend. And there's many, many other stories out there that I could tell you. Some a little personal. So if you want to hear, those are really extremely personal stories with my buddy Brandon Krueger. Drop it down below. Say, hey, what are you talking about? Comment, rate, and subscribe. But, there are some, when you take the time, you can change a person's life. It's just the small things. You don't need $1 million. You don't need the fancy cars, mansions. Sure, they would certainly be. They would certainly be nice. But a change a person's life, it just takes a small bit of time to change somebody's life, to make their life at the time meaningful. So, like I said, how much I appreciate Brandon Krueger, how much I appreciate Tommy Gage, how much I appreciate Lawrence Von Poffo, how much I appreciate my time with NGW. I have a few NGW stories that I would like to tell you. Again, we'll do it. If this gets we'll give it, how about 10 thumbs up? If we can get at least 10 thumbs up, I'll give you one story about my time working with the guys. Okay? So, I appreciate everybody, and we're going to try to just load this up, and we're not going to edit it. We're just going to go, and we're not going to put any pictures or anything. So if this is boring to you, I totally understand. So rate, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time on more of Wheels and Wisdom. Thank you.